Did you know for Austin Powers and Goldmember, George Harrison was a big fan of the Austin Powers franchise? The very last letter he wrote was to Mike Myers, praising him for his work. Although Harrison never mailed the letter, it coincidentally found its way to Myers on the very day Harrison passed away, 8 months before the release of Goldmember. That same day, Myers was filming the Hollywood biopic scene from the movie, which featured Tom Cruise, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kevin Spacey, and Danny DeVito in starring roles, and Steven Spielberg as the director. Prior to that moment, Myers had never met Harrison and cried like a baby when he received the letter, which is now framed in his home. 2. Mike Myers has said that his glasses in all 3 movies are meant to look like those worn by Sir Michael Caine in the Ipcress File, so Caine took the original glasses to the set and wore them as Nigel. 3. During promotion for Goldmember, Beyoncé revealed that Britney Spears requested the role of a fembot. According to Beyoncé, she said she desperately wanted to be in the movie and wanted to wear a bra that shot bullets. They managed to accommodate her requests. Did you know for Robin Hood, Men in Tights? When Mel Brooks first called Cary Elwes to offer him the lead role, Elwes thought it was a prank and hung up on him. 2. Cary Elwes based his performance in The Princess Bride on Errol Flynn's portrayal of Robin Hood in The Adventures of Robin Hood. Fittingly, it was his performance in The Princess Bride that brought Elwes to Mel Brooks's attention. 3. The gag about Robin being able to speak with an English accent is a reference to Kevin Costner's performance in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Viewers who saw both movies in a dubbed version couldn't get this gag, so different languages had different versions. 4. Throughout the movie, a mole on the face of Prince John, played by Richard Lewis, changes position. It starts on his left cheek, then his chin, his lip, his right cheek, and finally his forehead. This lampoons the mole on Alan Rickman's face in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It's also a nod to the famous Igor's hump gag from Young Frankenstein, which is also by Mel Brooks. Did you know for Peter Pan, though the film was a modest success, Walt Disney himself was dissatisfied with the finished product, feeling that the character of Peter Pan was cold and unlikable. However, experts on J.M. Barrie praise this as a success, as they insist that Pan was originally written to be a heartless sociopath. 2. In the originally planned version, Nana traveled with the children to Neverland. It also had a much darker ending. 3. In compliance with the tradition of the stage version, the same actor, Hans Conried, performed the roles of both Mr. Darling and Captain Hook. The 2 characters' looks were even modeled after his voice actor. Nana and the crocodile are also a dual role on stage, which the animators acknowledge by giving the crocodile canine qualities. 4. Walt Disney had been trying to buy the film rights to J.M. Barrie's play since 1935, having been smitten by a traveling production of the play when he was a child. The holdup in negotiations was because Barrie had bequeathed the rights to Great Ormond Street Hospital for Sick Children in London. Disney finally secured the rights in 1939. Did you know for Bruce Almighty, even though Jim Carrey was the studio's first choice for the role of Bruce Nolan, the original writers, Steve Coren and Mark O'Keefe, insisted they offer the role to Kevin Hart first, as they were interested in having their script turned into a starring vehicle for him. The studio was hesitant at first, but they eventually were persuaded to offer the role to Hart. However, Hart turned down the role after reading the script because the idea of making a comedy movie about God didn't appeal to him. After Hart said no, the studio then offered the role to Carrey, to which he said yes and was cast in the role. 2. Robert De Niro was originally supposed to play God. Jack Nicholson was also offered the role. In both cases, it would have been a huge case of playing against type, as both actors are best known for portraying roles that range from anti-heroes to flat-out psychos. 3. This is Jim Carrey's highest-grossing movie. He was paid $25 million, the biggest salary of his career. 4. Eva Mendes was originally cast as Susan Ortega, but had to be replaced due to scheduling conflicts with Too Fast, Too Furious. Did you know for Les Miserables, the soundtrack for a movie musical is usually recorded several months in advance, and the actors mime to playback during filming? On this film, however, nearly every song was recorded live on set to capture the spontaneity of the performances. Everyone involved, from Hugh Jackman to Russell Crowe to producer Cameron McIntosh, praised this approach as it allowed them to focus more on their acting and performances. They also praised director Tom Hooper for attempting this on such a scale, something no director has ever done before. The opening song, Look Down, set in the dockyard, did have to be pre-recorded due to the loud water and other ambient noises in the scene. 2. Hugh Jackman lost considerable weight and went 36 hours without water, causing him to lose water weight around his eyes and cheeks, giving him the gaunt appearance of a prisoner. He also grew a real scraggly beard for scenes of Valjean as a prisoner. Though mercifully they were shot first in production, and he could shave and return to his usual weight for scenes playing Valjean as a wealthy man. Did you know for Gone Girl, Reese Witherspoon obtained the film rights from Gillian Flynn in June 2012 and decided to produce under her new production label Pacific Standard, as she would be able to play the role of Amy. However, after her initial meeting with David Fincher on his vision of the film, Witherspoon withdrew from contention, realizing that she wasn't the right person to play the female lead. 2. David Fincher explained that one of the reasons he cast 35-year-old Rosamund Pike as Amy was that she was of unclear age in her appearance and could pass for an older or younger woman. Rosamund's revelation that she was an only child also proved to be a very appealing aspect for Amy's character in Fincher's opinion. 3. Ben Affleck postponed directing Live by Night in order to work on this film with David Fincher, even stating, "He's the only director I've met who can do everybody else's job better than they could." On set, one day, Affleck changed the lens setting on a camera an almost indiscernible amount, betting a crew member that Fincher wouldn't notice. Affleck lost the bet as Fincher brought up, "Why does the camera look a little dim?" Did you know for Wonder Woman, Steve's timepiece is a pocket watch, adapted with a leather case to be worn on the wrist? Pocket watches were the norm at the time, and they were usually worn on a chain, but they proved to be impractical in frontline action. Because timing was critical for coordinating large-scale action such as the use of infantry maneuvers in conjunction with artillery barrages, soldiers began wearing timepieces on their wrists. This fashion spread to civilians and adapted pocket watches into wrist watches, which became the preferred fashion of timepieces in the 20th century. 2. Gal Gadot trained for 9 months to gain 17 pounds of pure muscle, though it didn't show in the final film and many fans felt she looked too thin to play the character. 3. Director Patty Jenkins was set to direct this film back in 2005, but due to her unexpected pregnancy, she had to step down. Jenkins claimed that this film is the film she's been wanting to do her whole life, and that she was fortunate to come back to it, even though she had only directed one low-budget drama film in her career 14 years before, and had no experience handling big-budget action movie. Did you know for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the first test audience was mostly 18 and 19-year-olds who hated it? After almost the entire audience walked out of the screening, Robert Zemeckis, who had the final cut, said he wasn't changing a thing. 2. Jessica Rabbit's speaking voice was performed by Kathleen Turner, and her singing voice was performed by Amy Irving. Only Irving was credited. Robert Zemeckis previously directed Turner in Romancing the Stone. 3. There were over 40 drafts of the script, including drafts that had either Jessica Rabbit or Baby Herman as the villain. 4. Robert Zemeckis recounts that he had stated in a newspaper interview that Bill Murray was his and executive producer Steven Spielberg's original choice for the role of Eddie Valiant, but neither could get in contact with him in time. Murray, in turn, has stated that when he read the interview, he was in a public place, but he still screamed his lungs out because he would have definitely accepted the role. 5. Tim Curry auditioned for the role of Judge Doom. Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and Michael Eisner found his performance quite terrifying.